right, let's get into this Tommy G react. So we got Tommy G, how American guns get smuggled to the Mexican cartels. Tommy G always getting himself in some shit, y'all. He don't like to live just a normal life. He rather just be around crazy shit. He one of them people that like adrenaline, I think.
Today I'm going to discuss how guns are brought from the United States into Mexico.
Would you say you have a dangerous job?
Yeah, probably the most dangerous you can have. It's literally just...
These are people bringing all the scraps in America, y'all. Because Cartel... Anything the Cartel doing? Anything they doing that shit to the tip toppest, and they want to be the top of that shit. So if this is gun smuggling, this is a lot of guns that they're smuggling.
Storing it away and sending it about its way. So my mom was in jail. I need to put food on the plate. I ended up sending it
Shout
to
out
somebody
Celsius,
who
man. No
California.
unpaid promo, but
so everybody ate at the
fuck with them.
2009-10 was like our wild, wild west days out here where we were in chases every day.
And what are the odds?
Go.
Right
He
now?
trying to hop out.
Pretty good, dude, because
he hopped
chases
out
every day.
Bro, that slow ass hop out, bro.
9-10 was like our wild, wild west days out here where we were in.
Oh shit, y'all ain't Pete. Y'all saw the other dude. He been hopped out. He tried to be like him, but delayed like a bitch.
Chases every day.
He lagged out, y'all.
What are the odds?
He lagged and fell.
Oh, pretty good, dude, because these are all scout hills.
At what age would you say you officially joined an organization?
So I was about 10, 11 years old.
We spoke with a cartel member last night that alleged that one of the ways it gets through is paying off Border Patrol, paying off police.
Yep, I would not
It's a
disagree
price
with
on
that.
everything,
what is
man.
it cost to buy a Border Patrol agent?
It's a cost on everything.
In a good month, how many guns can you get across the border?
I want to say close to 5.
Damn. 1,000 straps a month is diabolical. Shit is crazy.
Yes, it is.
Do you need a free and easy way to capture your gameplay? Introducing Outplayed. Record anything on your PC. Highlight reels, let's play sessions.
The power Mexican cartels have accumulated is hard to fathom. With Jalisco New Generation Cartel and the Sinaloa Cartel leading the charge, these paramilitary crime syndicates have global reach. They are heavily armed, deeply connected, and absolutely ruthless. Specializing in drug trafficking, human smuggling, extortion, and more, these organizations pull in billions of dollars every year. And the United States plays a part in this because the ugly truth behind some of their power is American guns. Now, as Americans,
My bad, y'all.
we get mad about the fentanyl flooding across our border, but what about our guns that are flooding into Mexico? In
You
this
said
episode, we
100,
expose
1,000
the
straps a
from
month is
cartel
crazy,
operators
bro.
to U.S. gun smugglers running thousands of firearms across the border to the law enforcement agents fighting to stem the flow. These folks are the players in this deadly supply chain of power and violence. And would you believe that some of our own three-letter agencies might be involved? This is the story of how American guns end up in the hands of Mexican cartels. What's up, brother? Good to meet you.
W skit.
Is it true that different people in the game are on the run right now?
Oh yeah, most of the people I know just either their people either got hit by, one of the 3 people that were going out there raiding people, or just had some shit happen, or some people didn't know how to do.
All his people going to jail, and he thought the bright idea was to fucking be on a Tommy G documentary.
Pull up in Phoenix.
Interview.
So do you have a fear that if you did a bad business transaction that someone would come looking for you?
I don't fear for my life at all in this situation, just because throughout this whole business, I've been clean business.
Like Tommy, if he
Myself
doing that
as
shit,
worth,
he does not care about his life.
that's out there
Obviously.
just trying to make money. So you're gonna have the gun itself, where the gun is, who's the one that's either gonna get it or who has it. I go buy that off that person at a price where I can make a profit for myself. I send someone into a store to go get something from me, and I have my people that I sell it to at a pretty good markup. They send it to one of their kind of workers, drivers, and just gets taken down to Mexico in like units.
So you don't physically drive across the border?
No.
Would you say you have a dangerous job?
Yeah, probably the most dangerous you can have. Because you're not just dealing with, legal issues, you're also dealing with territorial issues.
For those not familiar, the Sinaloa Cartel is one of Mexico's most feared and notorious drug cartels. It was led for years by El Chapo Guzman, a
El
ruthless
Chapo, Don Manando.
famous for running
Oh,
a
she look
global
like this a real
crime
quick chapter.
empire and escaping a Mexican prison in
Real
2015.
quick, I promise. Alright, my bad, y'all. What the fuck, bro? Hold on. My fucking stream is lagging out. Alright.
15 through a mile-long tunnel. He was recaptured in 2016 and extradited to the United States, where he's now being held in ADX Florence, America's most secure prison. He's locked up alongside people like infamous gang leader Larry Hoover and the Boston Marathon bomber. And with El Chapo behind bars, Sinaloa's future has never looked more uncertain. But make no mistake that from Chicago to California, Omaha to Phoenix, the Sinaloa reach is still quite powerful.
I ain't gonna lie, I just lagged like a
extradited to
bitch,
Mexican
chat. I
prison
ain't
in
gonna lie. I did
2015
not
for
listen to
being
nothing he
famous for
just
running
said.
a global crime empire and escaping a
me
Mexican
lock in.
prison in 2015 through a mile-long tunnel. He was recaptured in 2016 and extradited to the United States, where he's now being held in ADX Florence, America's most secure prison. He's locked up alongside people like infamous gang leader Larry Hoover and the Boston Marathon bomber. And with El Chapo
Damn, that's a crazy. The Boston bomber, El Chapo, and Larry Hoover just being in the same room. It's just a crazy mix. Diabolical mix of people in a room.
behind bars, Sinaloa's future has never looked more uncertain. But make no mistake that from Chicago to California, Omaha to Phoenix, the Sinaloa reach is still quite powerful. All right, folks, we have a sheriff pulling up from Pinal County. He's had a lot of experience in the field. We're going to be interviewing him as well. You have the wildest collection of patches that I think I've ever seen. We interviewed a cartel member last night. What are the odds that he would be Sinaloa given the control they have in the area?
He's not Sinaloa.
It's crazy that Tommy really plays both sides. It wasn't even 3 minutes ago, y'all, that he was just with the people that the person he's with now wants to catch, though. Like, he's literally, it's like he's playing the field so hard. It's like I don't see how some officers don't like try to bring in Tommy for questioning, because he done met with them, bro. Like, literally, bro. How long ago was it, bro? He was literally with the dude. Look, 318, 2 minutes ago in the video, he was with the opposing side of who he with now. It's crazy. Like, if both sides was a person, Tommy, I fuck with it, but you are him. You are the statue, the model, the figure of both sides. Like,
Then he's
the
risking
fuck?
his life.
I just
your
peeped
process
that.
to do it?
It's literally just storing it away and sending it about its way.
And are you physically driving it in a car, or do you have other people do that?
No, you know, there's a chain of command and there's people that do that. You can go into a gun store right now and buy, you know, your typical mini-me, something like that for $9 grand. But if it falls out the back of the truck, I can get it for $5.
Do you work for one primary cartel, or do you freelance amongst many?
Just what?
Is there any difference in how difficult it is to do business from the Biden administration to the Trump administration?
There might be a couple hiccups, but it's all business. It's all the same. Honestly, it's crazy. I can't imagine the border right now. People are scared to go across more than ever before. The risk and like the paranoia of it, you know, because like some of this shit is like they'll load your car up with like 20 gloves. And like imagine trying to drive across the border, like thinking that, and then if the X-ray's gonna pick you up, shit like that. I guess nerve-wracking, you know.
Hella stress. Oh my God.
Hard to do.
Your heart is being outside your chest going across
Is it
the
actually
border.
that easy as Biden?
With
as
20
Biden as
blocks?
president?
I feel like there was a lot more things coming in.
Is it noticeably more difficult now that Trump is in office?
Yeah.
Under the Biden administration, it was a free flow of everything. The people have stopped coming across so much. I mean, we're way down. I think we were at about 7,000 to 12,000 a week, and we're at like 300 to 700 a week now.
At what age would you say you officially joined the
Trump
organization?
changed. Hey, Trump ain't with that, bro. One thing, I don't know politics. I don't get into all that. But one thing that I do know, and I don't know Trump like that or a lot, I just hear the clips and see the clips. One thing I do know is that he, what am I trying to say? That he don't fuck that border shit. He stays on that border shit. Even from like the first time with the wall he wanted to build and all that, like. So them saying it's hard to get them through the border, I would definitely know that's the truth. Oh shit. Like, damn, do this dude know that Tommy worked with the police too? I would be paranoid. I ain't gonna lie, I'd be paranoid as hell to have Tommy around me. But it's like he probably did some research because nobody go to jail after. I don't think nobody goes to jail after Tommy G shit. Not like Vlad TV. Vlad got like 6, 7 people locked up for his interviews. No Jumper, same thing. He's get booked from No Jumper interviews. Academics, they just said, I just read something on a Lil Durk thing that they pulled up and they used a statement he said in the academic interview for what he gone through. So I don't know if Tommy G do it, but man, I won't be into all that. Especially you're part of an operation like this, nigga. You're in the cartel. Doing a YouTube video with somebody that gets millions of views is crazy. Like, is there a boss in that shit? What do he think about that? Like, just the questions I'll be asking myself, bro, watching this shit.
There was a study done by the U.S. government from the Government Accountability Office that found that 70% of firearms found in Mexico traced their roots to America. Does that surprise you?
That's probably lowballing it.
You think it might even be closer to 80, 90?
No, if anything, I feel like it would be a larger number.
Closer to 80, 90% maybe?
Yeah, probably closer to 90.
How much power do the cartels have in places like this, in Arizona?
On the American side, they are very smart businessmen, right? They don't, they're getting a little more overt about their stuff, but you just don't have a lot of in your face like you do in Mexico, right? We don't have rolling gun battles here. Sinaloa holds pretty good control of our state. They have not given it up, and they've been here a lot of years.
Are there people in America that are officially part of a cartel, or is that only if you live in Mexico?
It's going to stretch all over the world. We'll just put it that way.
What the hell is
Now,
on
according
his
to Arizona
chest,
law,
y'all?
these gun smugglers could face up to 10 years in prison if caught for the crime. But what's interesting to me is the same U.S. government that will hammer these guys for selling guns also like to sell a lot of guns overseas themselves. This has happened a lot of times in recent history, but let's just highlight a couple of recent examples. Take the Soviet-Afghani conflict in the 1980s.
One thing I fuck with Tommy, he exposes everything too, though. It's like he don't play. It's like I made that joke about both sides with him, but he really plays no side, and he hold everybody accountable for what he like is researching and all that shit. Like he shows all the POVs from every angle. I fuck with that.
The CIA funneled tens of thousands of guns to the Afghan fighters, the Mujahideen, to win the battle against the dreaded Soviets, our enemy at the time. Fast forward a few years later, the same Mujahideen fighters that we armed with the guns that we gave him, some of these guys later turned into the Taliban, which was really good for the military-industrial
He got
complex.
an
because this
RPG
fueled
up in a
another
rocket
20
launcher
years
like
of
it's just
war
a
and
Glock. It's
profit.
crazy.
And most recently, for the United States politicians and arms manufacturers, we have sent billions to Ukraine and Israel, which some could say the U.S. taxpayer is indirectly responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people, including women and children. So while a low-level smuggler might spend a decade behind bars for moving a few rifles across the border, the corporations and politicians who benefit from this arms dealing will walk free. Because when the violence is industrialized,
crazy,
no longer
bro.
a crime, it's just good business. Is there any misrepresentation of the American media about the cartels? Like basically that they're horrifying terrorist organizations?
Yeah.
It's not how they picture it though. It's so media is so brainwashed, and they say, oh, the cartel, runs this whole area, and if you go there, they're gonna kill you, and this and that. Yeah, the cartel might run a specific area, but as long as you're there and you're not causing no trouble, or you're not out there to steal from nobody, or just sell anything, you know what I mean? If you're just there on good terms and like checking in, everything be good.
Do you think that's a fair picture American media makes of them?
No, that's easy to label something that you can tax. We gotta take care of our own people, you know? The government ain't helping. We see
Hey.
cartels sending
Spit, chat.
suicide bombers or people in the United States to go do mass shootings and get their agenda across or anything. You know, most of the things that cartels do, unless it's someone in America that was working with them and fucking over somehow, that's when they'll go after you as a person in America.
What do you think about Trump potentially labeling cartels as terrorist organizations?
Crazy.
That's so fun. Coolest plugin I ever used.
That he should start here with the people on this side.
What do you think would happen if Trump tried invading Mexico or drone striking cartel operations?
It's not that big good.
Yeah, it
Currently in
wouldn't
the
be
news, the
good.
U.S. and the Trump administration is considering using drone strikes against the Mexican cartels. But how do we know if these
I did not know that. He trying to put us at war with the cartel. It's crazy. Let me not speak on politics shit, man, but that's crazy.
stories are biased, how they're being framed politically, if we're getting the right scoop on what we're being
That's
told.
fucking
This is
wild.
where the sponsor
That
of
is
today's
a fight
video comes
that
in.
America
Ground
does
News.
not
What
need
they
to
do
start.
is they pull thousands of stories across the internet and compile them, and they rate the reliability of the story based off the political bias of the source, which is very helpful because they give us an indication of the reliability of the stories that we're hearing. Just take these stories about drone strikes. Most of the outlets covering this are center or lean right. And Ground News lets you compare these headlines side by side. Take this left-leaning source that says drone strikes will lead to another Vietnam, and take this right-wing source that gives
That
a
would be
counterpoint
bad, bro.
that cartels are using drones to spy on U.S. troops. One of my favorite parts about Ground News is their blind spot feed. What it does is it shows me stories that I might not receive based off the biases I might have or how my algorithm is structured, and it shows me more of a full and complete picture of what is happening in the world. Ground News helps me see through the noise, see through the bias, and help me be
I
better
think we just
informed.
watched the
If you
ad,
subscribe
y'all.
using my link or QR code, you get 40%
Yeah, we just-
off their Vantage
Tommy
plan, which is
good,
the most
bro.
robust plan
I'm thinking
on
he
the
talking
site.
about
Go to
some shit. He
ground.news/TommyG
just snuck this ad
to get
on
a
us,
better
y'all.
handle on
They are very family oriented. I can tell you from the Mexican side of my family. We have family gatherings all the time. We have carne asadas. We get together and play loteria, you know, all this kind of stuff. The difference being when they go to work, it could be to go skin somebody alive that's their enemy, you know. This road in particular is a major smuggling route, and I've had a
That
lot
was
of
very-
cases on this route.
And what road are we on right now?
We're on
That
Stanfield
was,
Road. These mountaintops will have
stereotype.
scouts on them. So all of these valleys out here can have routes where they are pushing people and product up, and they use those routes. The scouts guide the loads. When they get up here to kind of the civilization, that's when they'll hit these regular routes, blacktop routes, on the freeway, shoot up into Phoenix, because Phoenix becomes the hub.
And what are the odds someone has eyes on us right now?
Oh, pretty good, dude, because these are all scout hills.
Why is torture used so often amongst the cartels?
Pain is the best teacher.
So you're a runner, go to a gun store, get it. Let's say it's me. If I get flagged, okay, that's a mission that went astray. If not, how often would you send a guy like me to get it again and again and again?
I mean, I've had people that, you wouldn't believe the number of stuff they got out under the name. It's really kind of strategic in a way, because the way the background checks work is it will show up as, either a pistol or a rifle. It doesn't go into the system as that specific firearm unless the ATF is flagged and involved. You could have someone go store to store, get 5 guns in their name, just one day, clean record, all that stuff.
For you have someone in your family that has died from gun violence in Mexico.
Yeah,
Do you blame the guys in America selling the guns?
I don't. I just blame the shooter, really.
How do you feel about being involved in a business that arms the cartel?
Yeah, I mean, guns don't shoot themselves.
It is in a way. I mean, you think about it is, what I'm doing is basically doing what larger corporate companies have done with other third world countries. Taliban has all guns made in the USA. What I do is I still make those people money. The big gun industry still gets money for me, but I also make some money myself in a way by just doing what they're already doing, but on a smaller scale. Even if I stopped what I was doing, someone would just come and fill in for me. Might as well try to make my money in that way, and it's something that's happening in a whole different country.
So gun smugglers will risk prison time for a few $1,000s of profit a month. But what about the big players in what some would call the military-industrial complex? Let's just look at the Russia-Ukraine war, for example.
Trillions.
Lockheed Martin's stock hit an all-time high. Raytheon's production lines are going off the charts. Billions of dollars in weapons have flowed across the Ukraine border and across the European nations that are gearing up, looking to refill their arsenal in what has proven to be one of the biggest spending sprees in defense since the Cold War. Now, this is where the gray area comes in. Is this right? Is this wrong? Because whether you look at Ukraine, Israel, Afghanistan, one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. I don't know the answer to all this, but what I do know as a tax-paying citizen is what I've gotten out of the deal are dead soldiers, civilians, destruction, a bad reputation globally, while these companies in the military-industrial complex have reaped the profits in the billions.
Well, I don't think the gun manufacturers make the guns to give to bad guys to rape, pillage, and carnage their own countries. So I don't think that's a good way of looking at it.
What made you choose this job over anything else you could have done?
Honestly, the thrill of it in a way, and just a large interest in guns on my part. The money's there. I got lucky with, finding some people. Honestly, I think this is a lot morally acceptable than drugs, safer than drugs, less corrupt, less dangerous,
So my mom was in jail, I needed to put food on the plate, and then once people started offering me guns for product, and tremendously, no product was damn near getting a gun for free.
Damn.
That's really what changed my eyes, because of some kid who went and robbed a car and found this a gun in the car, and he was scared to have it at home. So he came to me and he said he didn't want that. He'd rather have a little bit of weed.
How much weed do you think you gave him?
Probably 7 grams. And that same night, I ended up selling it to somebody who ended up taking it to California and making money off of it. So everybody ate at the end of the day.
2009-10 was like our wild, wild west days out here, where we were in chases every day. Load vehicles, stolen vehicles going south. So they would go to Phoenix. They could have a stolen vehicle out of West Phoenix down here within about 40 minutes. And so they would run stolen south. They would cross them over, because there's parts of the border just south of us that are just barbed wire fence like this. So they would cut that shit, drive across, and drive the stolen into Mexico, load it up with dope, and then drive it back northbound under the dark of night. And so we would be out here in night chases with them, going after blacked out vehicles, chasing them through the desert, trying to get them before they got to I-8. The scouts would all coordinate their movement. So we would have counter scout operations where us and Border Patrol would work together to try and take the scouts off the hills when we knew loads were coming so that they were flying blind essentially. And then under the last presidential administration, it was so wide open that they didn't need any of that stuff. Nobody was stopping them. So, and there were so many of them that there was just a flood of people coming through, a flood of dope coming through. Border Patrol was tasked out in all these other areas. It was like Thermopylae for us, man. I mean, we were up against, you know, tens of thousands of people, and it's really not even our job, right? The immigration piece is not the sheriff's job, but we were stuck with a lot of this stuff. Our military was essentially teaching other countries how to defend their country, right? And
Guys, we gotta cover some more cartel history because American guns are not the only thing that the United States has contributed towards the rise and dominance of Mexican cartels. Let's take you back to the mid-90s to Fort Benning, Georgia at the School of Americas, where for decades and still today, this was a place where Latin American military forces were brought to practice skills in things like urban warfare, interrogation tactics, and psychological warfare. The School of Americas has since been renamed due to many former students committing various coups and human rights violations across Central and South America. Classes here are taught in Spanish and oftentimes led by U.S. Green Berets. One of the groups that was trained here was GAFE, one of Mexico's elite special forces groups whose job it was to raid high-value targets and combat narcotics operations. In the 90s, about 30 of the GAFE guys eventually defected from the Mexican military to work for the Gulf Cartel, which they later left to create their own and one of the most feared cartels of all time, Los Zetas. Now, the majority of scholars agree that this was not some CIA psyop on purpose, but rather an unintended consequence on the part of the United States. However, there are known cases of former special forces guys being put on cartel payroll to teach their soldiers and sicarios advanced tactics. Just food for thought as we look at the history of how some of these cartels came to be. What's been your biggest month in revenue so far?
I think the best run I had is I made 70K in 4 months.
How did that feel?
Amazing.
Amazing. What the fuck? Well, how do you think, Tommy? Shit, let me make it. I'll start singing.
Allegedly.
How was that?
I'll just sing all day. Happy.
One of the things you
What's the
want
one
to
song?
with that
Let me
is
make
you wanna have
70K in 4 months. I'm singing the one song all day. Cause I'm happy I belong if you feel like happy is. I'm gonna sing that shit all day, bro.
to you. You know, doing that, I was able
After
to
this
find
reaction,
out
we
that
gonna go IRL for just a little bit,
you
y'all.
know, where also I reflected where I went wrong, other factors, and how much
Then
they
come
know.
back and get some gaming in.
So you kind of stayed silent and let them talk.
Yeah.
this is the Obama solution here.
So someone could be camping out here and someone's hustling a load.
Yeah, and we've had that happen where there's been people out here either hunting or just camping for a weekend, and they'll have a stolen vehicle in the middle of a chase, will run right through their campsite and blasting up here to the interstate to get away from the cops. And so this whole area is kind of, again, just like the other area, all the high points, you're gonna have scouts. There's usually scouts on this hill, and there's scouts a little bit deeper in, and so they're watching over the valleys.
The cartel member we spoke with last night said that if drone strikes were taken against the cartel, we really escalated against them, there would be a ripple effect where they're gonna escalate the violence here and try and, I mean, do you see that as a potential chess move that really results badly for the American citizens?
No. If they just look historically at the U.S., they would understand that that's a really stupid statement to make. I think it was Japan that woke up the dragon, right? I don't think they understand what they're saying. Like, that's fine to say, and there's a lot of machismo in that. Like, hey, if you mess with me, you come after my family, I'll come after your family. That's all fun and good, but when you go to war on the U.S., that's a whole different level of fucking with us that we're not gonna put up with. And I don't think they understand the hate that would come their way if something like that were to happen.
Do you ever have sympathy for some of these guys that like, hey, while I don't agree with what you're doing, I get why you're in your own situation?
Yeah, man. I mean, again, having a wife that's Mexican, there's some of her family that are involved in some of this stuff. I don't hate them. It's family, and they're doing what they think they need to do to get by. And again, it's all circumstantial, man. What you're facing in your life and how you're dealing with it, I definitely have sympathy for that. I don't think it's right for them to do what they're doing to get their money or to get ahead or whatever, but I can't fault them for trying to get ahead and do well for their family.
People, I think, in American media, it's almost like these guys are monsters. Like, are these guys just normal people in a way?
Yeah, they're normal guys and gals in the sense that, just like us
Guys and
standing here,
gals.
we can sit and have a conversation. Now, in the right circumstances, would one of them kill me if they could? Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't get real personal.
Why
They're just trying to
would
do their
they?
thing, and so it is what it is.
Anybody in the cartel, they would kill them if they could. Like, nigga, not all of them. You can't put a general judgment on a broad judgment on, like, you feel me, the bad eggs in the batch, man.
So you would have survived on
But
your
that's
own.
how America just operates,
Yeah,
bro.
well, I have my
Sadly.
sisters really, it was really my sisters helping to hold it down. Once I seen like the pressure put on them, it takes a toll on you and me, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm the youngest of 9. When my mom was locked up and my father passed away, you know what I'm saying? It was really just me and my siblings. And I have my older brothers don't have papers, they're in Mexico, you get me? And one of them already died. So it's just me and my sisters, and then I have my brother who really be on his own world. So I really had to like either step in or step out. Once you get into this, like the money is here. This is really what makes you, you know, a little bit as that extra, especially now in this society where the bills take up everything, all the money you make, every job you have, every dollar you make is gonna go to a bill. You get me? At least now right here, I'm able to feed my family, pay my bills, and still, you know, go have some fun.
Are a lot of these guys balling off of this? If we were to catch a group right now, they look like hammered dog shit, man. They just beat up because they've been hiking for 4 or 5 days through the mountains. A lot of times they're
They
drinking
look
a
like hammered
concoction
dog
of like
shit. It's crazy.
meth and fentanyl and cocaine, and so they're all wired up, not feeling shit. Rattlers and stray bullets will get you every time. So you can see there's kind of a depression here and kind of bushes and stuff like that. You can see how the grass is kind of beat down, which means there's been people in here. And then you'll start seeing the black bottles that's traditionally smuggler trash. They carry the black bottles with water all the way up from Mexico. There's parts in Mexico where they're buying all this stuff. They're buying the camouflage, they're buying the black bottles.
And what goes in the black bottles?
Water. They black them out so that they're not shiny, visible. And so you'll see them kind of scattered throughout here.
Everywhere.
You should
There's
start
so
seeing
many
some
of
the
them.
clothing and stuff. So they've, like, by the time they get to this point,
They've
already been backpacking
They're here.
for 4 or 5 days.
Damn, Chad, look
Uppacking.
at that.
What do you think would happen?
That
if
is a
Trump-
big.
How they're being
Oh, I
framed?
hate when I do that shit. Oh, I hate it. Look at all them clothes, y'all. That's fucking ridiculous. Hold on. God damn it. Look at all those clothes, though, bro. That's fucking absurd.
Buying the camouflage, they're buying the black bottles. So they've, like,
Here it comes.
by the time they get to this point,
Hold on, y'all.
they've already been backpacking for
Look at that, bro. I know this probably wasn't all at once, but it is a big operation of people, bro. This shit looks like a homeless camp. Like, there's so many clothes, bro.
For-
He did say 1,000 guns in a month, bro. It's a lot of smuggling.
4 or 5 days up from Mexico. Then they get here, and this is kind of their final staging point where they will kind of hang out and wait for a ride to come get them. And so typically speaking, this is where they kind of discard their clothing, discard any trash that they have, and jump in their ride and go.
Crazy work, bro.
So they'll get in this little cut here, and you can kind of see from the grass pressed down. They'll just get in here, rest, and wait for their ride to come get them. And I mean, we're 10 yards off of Interstate 8, and so car will pull up, give a signal. They'll jump out of this spot, go load into the car real quick, and then they're off and running. One thing they did start doing too is when they know that we are onto them because of the stuff they're leaving behind, they would start collecting it all into a trash bag or whatever, and then they would have one person take it off 100 couple yards away so that it didn't give away their position as much.
Do you have any opinion of the new Mexican president, Sheinbaum? Like, has she changed things at all with how you guys do business?
Money talks.
So it's business as usual in Mexico. Officials are being paid off,
Police.
forces are getting paid off, and business keeps going.
Yeah.
How hard is it to bribe a police officer?
Here?
How
Well,
hard?
yeah, I guess compare America and Mexico.
That's the same.
Mexico.
You can bribe
It
people
ain't
here.
hard.
Oh, yeah.
Hell,
What
I would.
percent of
Hey,
cop?
I'll put America before them. American people are so money like controlled. It's a price on everything. I'm gonna tell you that now, bro. It's a price on everything in America. We might be a little ahead of Mexico, but that's probably just a human thing now, bro. A piece of paper has so much value, so much makes everything go. Can't get nothing without it.
Cops in border towns in Arizona, would you say are in some ways paid off?
At least 3/4.
At least 3/4.
Oh, yeah.
And how much does it cost to buy a cop?
It just depends. If it's a one-time thing, you know, you throw them a couple grand. And if it's an ongoing thing, you put them on the salary, you give them, you know, 3-4 grand a month.
There's really that many American cops on payroll like that? We spoke with a cartel member last night that alleged that one of the ways it gets through is paying off Border Patrol, paying off police.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that. I know from the years that I've worked that we've had compromised Border Patrol agents, we've had compromised officers. So same thing, they, you know, they make a lucrative offer to somebody who is not making very much money, and people compromise their integrity for that. And
Have you ever had to fire somebody because you caught them doing that?
yep, we worked a case when I was working undercover. We had one of our guys that was involved, and we had to work a case on him and ultimately arrested him with the help of the FBI.
Now, I'm going to throw out the number he said, which I think is kind of crazy, but I want your take on it.
All right.
He said, about 60-70% of the Border Patrol and cops.
He's full of shit. Not on the U.S. side. The Mexico
full of
cops
shit.
are more easily
full of shit.
compromised, and on that side, it is the threat of violence. Because way back when, we talked to a compromised Mexico police officer, and he told us it was as simple as this. I was trying to be a good local cop. I was just watching traffic, and I was stopping speeders, and I got blocked in by 2 vehicles, and a guy gets in the passenger side, and he said, "Hey, you know who I am?" And he said, I knew who he was. He was a local cartel boss. And he said, "Hey, we want you to work for us. All you have to do is not be on this road from these times to these times," right? And the guy said, "No, I'm not. I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm not part of your crew, none of that crap." They said, "Okay, here's a picture of your wife and family, and we have eyes on them right now. And you basically have 60 seconds to make your choice, whether you're with us or against us. And if you're against us, then your family's going to pay the price."
Imagine you get told that, Chad. They working, bro. Ask you a question, you say no. Like, can you? Let me just give you a chance to answer that again, and they just show you on a phone your family. A nigga's in the bushes recording your family outside in the front yard, is playing and shit. Like, that's some movie shit, bro. That shit real life. Although that probably has happened. Although it's something about me right now that feels like something that he's telling within this whole interview Tommy's happened with him. I feel like he probably exaggerated some shit. He probably definitely did to try to make it seem like they are worse. The cartel is just worse than what they are. Just like they said, the media, that the police do that too. They help the media push those narratives for people.
That's right.
And he's a sheriff at that, so.
So all I had to do was not watch this road and keep my family alive. And so it wasn't much money at all, dude. You're talking a couple grand, and for that particular time, right? We think that he had done it more than that, but you're talking a couple grand is what he had compromised himself for.
I couldn't believe and didn't quite buy the numbers that many U.S. Border Patrol agents or U.S. cops were bought and paid for by the Mexican
Only
cartel.
2 bands.
So I called another Sinaloa contact of mine to see if he could add some insight.
He did it
on
for a
the
little
numbers.
2
Here's what he
bands.
said. Would you agree with the stat, 60 to 70% of them?
It's a crazy fit. They got a rugby polo with a black shiesty with some Ray-Bans on. Hell of a combo. Hell of a combo.
I feel like 80% that they either want drugs or money. Some of them don't even have a choice. If you say no to the amount of money, like food, you don't have a choice. You feel me? We control you. I have a couple of them that go pick up my people and pass them over. You feel me? All you have to do is follow instructions.
What is the cost to buy a Border Patrol agent?
A week, 9,500. But remember,
Almost
some
10
of them
bands a week,
do
bro.
kilo, you know, some of them want some kilos and some yellow, you feel me? So some of them want money, so some of them drug.
Even after talking to this guy, I still doubt those numbers. I feel like these guys only come in contact with Border Patrol agents that are corrupted, so in their view, all of them are. But I just can't believe that the majority of Border Patrol
It's a
agents
lot of
are
them, though.
bought. I just don't think it's true.
10 bands a week, I feel like it's true, y'all.
Making a day here is
I feel like it's a lot of people, and they don't even have to do much. They just gotta let you get through. It's a lot of people. I believe that, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
Let that sink in.
It's not like they're telling them, like, help me smuggle this shit. They're paying them almost 10 bands a week to turn the other way while they go through. I believe that's a high percent of people on that task force that'll do that. No cap. Tommy just one of them people that can see the good in people, but I believe that shit. It's a lot of people that do that.
I can make that in like in one cell. You one gun transaction. You give me. I can make way more than that in one gun transaction and send that over right there.
In a good month, how many guns can you get across the border?
I want to say close to 1,000.
1,000 a month.
The cartel guy we spoke to last night claimed that in a typical month he might be able to get 1,000 guns across the border. Do you think that's credible?
Yeah, that's absolutely credible.
Is it even possible that he's downplaying it?
Probably, yeah, because he's not wanting to get his bosses in trouble.
So you have a few runners daily.
Look how salty that cop looked, bro. That cop was salty. He like, damn, you was talking to him. After this shit happened, he definitely asked Tommy, are you willing to... Hey, Tommy, before you leave, come here. This is him. I noticed you were saying a lot of things that the cartel people were. What do you think about doing the sting operation with? I know that cause look at his face. You can tell he like, damn, Tommy, you know him like that. They giving you numbers. They comfortable to. I know some of these shares are played. Like they definitely asking Tommy to do some stings operations. And Tommy, hey, I got to do some research. I still don't think nobody's getting caught with Tommy's videos, which is like, he 100 for that. Because he could easily be just setting up these people, bro.
Get his bosses in trouble.
Look at him, that little, he like, damn, Tommy knows them?
You have a few runners daily going. Is it with Border Patrol too? You can buy off Border Patrol?
Oh, definitely.
So like you have to, because obviously you don't just stroll up there and ask, like you have to meet him at a bar, you have to, like how do you initiate this?
They're sent to train.
What does that mean?
They're sent to the academy.
Tell me about the clashes going on right now. Are things fairly stable or is there a lot of battles happening?
No, right? I mean, there's always going to be, you know, a tug of war between powers. It goes through its dormant times. Right now it's active.
The danger he's speaking of refers to the war currently happening within the Sinaloa cartel. Since El Chapo's imprisonment in 2017, the group has splintered, with two main factions now holding power. One is led by El Mayo, a co-founder of Sinaloa, and some say El Chapo's equal. The other is Los Chapitos, led by El Chapo's sons, known for being younger, flashier, and more aggressive. Their turf war has triggered waves of violence, including this recent story detailing the deaths of dozens of teens in Mexico. And from what I've heard from sources close to the action, this fighting is not expected to end anytime soon. What attracted you to this lifestyle?
Honestly, the adrenaline.
Is it terrifying working for a cartel?
Stressful, not terrified.
So as long as you follow the rules and kind of do honest business, you're kind of in good standing, there's nothing to worry about?
Yeah, you know, you do business as a man.
The one thing I wanted to fact check on to see if you had a perspective on is Trump's claim that the majority of people coming over are murderers and rapists. In my boots on the ground journalism, I found out most of the people are just looking for a factory job, fast food job. They're not a murderer. Do you feel like that rhetoric was accurate or a little overblown?
I would say
Tommy's
that
at the
depends on
border,
area,
bro.
Like,
how is, bro,
like
Tommy
this
be
area
in some
right
places.
now,
I'll be
we see
wondering, like, how the fuck did
military-aged
you...
males all camoed out,
How did you do
moving
that?
up.
How did you get there?
And those males are all at that ripe gangster age, and a lot of them, when we jump the groups, they are
Gangster age is a crazy statement. They're right at that gangster age. What's the gangster age, bro?
gang members. So if you're talking this area, absolutely, he's absolutely right. This is Thugville out here, man. It's all gangsters, cartel members, guys that are trying to fly under the radar. You'll have a few good people mixed in with that are really just looking for a better life. The other problem that we saw here in Arizona was a lot of these military-age males, when they got to the border and got across into the U.S., they immediately discarded their passports, any IDs, anything like that. They got rid of them, burned them, whatever they could do with them. Why the hell are you going to get rid of your ID if you're not up to something nefarious?
So it did seem sinister.
Yes, absolutely.
I guess so.
Once you're in this, is it possible to leave, or are you pretty much in it for, you know, for life?
You can step away. Easiest way to put it, you're a reservist at that point. As long as all your corners are covered, you turn into a reservist. So if you're needed and you're called up, you better show up.
How dangerous is it for you to even do this interview?
I'm risking a lot doing this. I'll put it that way, I'm risking my arm. Let's just say that.
And folks, for all the readers out there, get this book. I got the link in the description. If you want to learn more about real boots on the ground law enforcement experience,
I got my
I
boots
recommend
on
you
the
get
ground.
it. Links in the description.
Wait on
Outward legends of the
fans.
Mexican cartels have long fascinated me, and it's my goal to cover the story in Mexico one day if I can find the right contacts to do this safely. Email me at TommyGMcGee123@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram to reach me if you think this might be you. I also wanted to remind you guys to check out Ground News because I think in this era it is more important than ever to be properly informed and aware of what legitimate news might be or whether it's biased propaganda. And finally, let me know in the comments how you think the gun smugglers compare to the military-industrial complex. I appreciate
Ain't
you
nothing
guys.
different.
Thank you for watching, and see you next week.
W video Tommy W as always. As always is a W video from Tommy. Thumbs up.
I'm going dollar for dollar. 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 She screaming, she holler, she liking the way that I walk. I don't need a designer to get right behind her. She loving the way that I talk. All this hustling, grinding, this business.